Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. Millions under flood watches with more torrential rain on the way. And college graduations disrupted by protests as negotiators press for a ceasefire deal in Gaza. First, the flood emergency. 21 million people in the south under watches. Days of relentless rain, leading to hundreds of high water rescues in southeast Texas. The growing concern as a major river rises. Another 5 inches of rain in the forecast on top of the 15 inches that already fell this week. The threat expanding to other states in the coming days. Somara Theodore in the flood zone in Texas. Campus unrest, pro-Palestinian demonstrations disrupting college graduations. The commencement interrupted at the University of Michigan. Protesters clash with police at the University of Virginia. And tonight, the Education Secretary expressing concern about a rise in anti-Semitism on campuses. Also tonight, the Gaza negotiations intensify. The CIA director arriving in Cairo to press for a temporary ceasefire. But are Israel and Hamas willing to cut a deal? We speak with the family of an American hostage worried about what might happen if Israel goes ahead with a ground invasion of Rafah. Tom Soufi-Burridge with late details from Israel. The high-stakes fundraiser in Palm Beach, top Republican donors and vice presidential hopefuls gather with former President Trump. The election now 6 months away. Felony charges. 2 teenagers accused of dumping trash into the ocean off of Florida now facing the possibility of years in prison or hefty fines. The family of one of them now speaking out. The dramatic rescue captured on a police officer's body camera. The officer and a neighbor rescuing people from a building engulfed in flames. The major food recall, 8 tons of ground beef products sold at Walmart taken off store shelves because of possible contamination. Is it the future of warfare? An American F-16 takes to the sky, controlled not by a pilot, but by artificial intelligence. And the duet, 60 years in the making. Time was definitely on their side.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Whit Johnson. As we come on the air tonight, more than 21 million Americans are under flood watches, with severe weather bearing down on parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. The already saturated region could see up to 5 more inches of rain. More than a foot of rain has already fallen in some places over the past few days. Officials warning of dangerous conditions in low-lying areas. First responders seen here performing dozens of water rescues, some homes fully submerged. Multiple tornadoes popping up in the region. These images from outside Silver, Texas on Friday. Several rivers near Houston tonight at major flood stage and expected to crest this weekend. ABC meteorologist Somara Theodore leading us off in southeast Texas.
After days of relentless rain causing widespread flooding, evacuations, and damage to buildings, tonight officials in East Texas are warning the situation in the region could get worse.
I want to be very clear that we're not out of the woods yet.
The warning comes as water levels in some Houston area rivers hit their highest level since Hurricane Harvey in 2017. The Trinity and San Jacinto rivers both in major flood stages, with another round of heavy rain expected tomorrow.
There's still major flooding. We don't feel comfortable lifting the evacuation orders.
Officials warning of a potentially catastrophic water surge in low-lying areas. First responders already conducting water rescues for more than 400 people. Some homes almost entirely underwater.
It's probably 12 to 15 feet deep here.
Waylon Hicks was forced to evacuate his home in Cold Spring, Texas, north of Houston, returning to the house today by boat after helping families evacuate the flooded neighborhood.
How many families do you think were displaced by this?
Just in here alone, we helped 3 or 4 families get out, and their pets and things.
So let's get right to Somara Theodore in the flood zone. And Somara, the worst is not over yet.
That's correct, Whit. Here in Conroe, Texas, the San Jacinto River has completely commandeered McDade Park, and unfortunately, more rain is on the way. The alerts are expansive. Flood watches stretching from Houston, Texas, all the way up to Tulsa. Meanwhile, in the western part of the state, we are tracking the threat for severe weather through tonight. Some of those storms leading to tornadoes. Now, if you look at how much rain we could see anywhere from 4 inches or more locally in some areas, including San Antonio, Texas, Huntsville. Previously, obviously hit hard. And then tomorrow, things are pretty quiet on the severe weather front, but they pick back up again on Monday, this time for the central portion of the country. Much of the heartland could see very high risk for tornadoes stretching from Nebraska all the way down to Oklahoma and parts of northern Texas, and that impacts folks on their Monday evening commute. Whit?
We see that flooding behind you and more to come. All right, Somara, thank you. Now to the growing unrest on college campuses and the threat of protests looming over graduation season. Just before we came on the air, police in riot gear seen moving into the University of Virginia's campus in Charlottesville, and demonstrations today at the University of Michigan. All of this raising questions about the impact on commencement ceremonies across the country. ABC's Phil Lipof from NYU here in New York.
Tonight, colleges boiling over, clashes between protesters and police at the University of Virginia, with graduation season now in full swing. Some celebrations marred by protests, fueled by the war in Gaza.
Shut it down! Shut it down!
At the University of Michigan, protests on the field and in the air. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators waving flags and chanting. Even booing during the president's speech. From above, supporters of Israel flying a plane carrying a sign that reads, "We stand with Israel." At least 2,300 protesters have been arrested on 46 campuses across the country in the last 3 weeks of uproar. Protests growing into encampments, administrators struggling with how to respond to the demands of protesters for schools to cut ties with Israel altogether, divest from companies they say profit from the war, and publicly call for a ceasefire, while pro-Israeli supporters call for the release of the 100-plus remaining hostages kidnapped by Hamas on October 7th. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona writing in a letter to colleges that he is particularly disturbed by the sharp rise in antisemitism, calling the incidents abhorrent. Many Jewish students feeling threatened.
The Jewish community here, we felt like a lot of our concerns have just fallen on deaf ears.
In Florida, the chancellor of the state university system sending a letter to all state schools saying in part, while we respect and honor the First Amendment, a commencement ceremony is not the time nor the place for a political protest. He went on to say, take any steps necessary to keep people safe. Security has been an issue at UCLA. Violent confrontations between pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli groups. And at Columbia, the NYPD using a Bearcat ladder truck to take back control of a campus building seized by pro-Palestinian protesters.
Phil Lipof back with us now from outside NYU, where there have been recent protests. And Phil, what more are you learning about the possible impact on graduations?
Well, Whit, here in New York, NYU and Columbia both have graduations on May 15th. That's still 2 weeks away, so it's a little too early to tell if these early interruptions will affect these later graduations. But we do know school leaders at Northwestern, Rutgers, and Brown all made deals with protesters to fend off any potential disruptions at final exams or at graduation. Whit.
All right, Phil, thank you. And tune into This Week tomorrow morning. Jonathan Karl speaks with New York City Mayor Eric Adams about the state of anti-war protests at college campuses. And overseas, talks in Cairo are intensifying as negotiators try to push a ceasefire agreement over the finish line between Israel and Hamas. Overnight, at least 3 people were killed in strikes on the southern edge of the Gaza Strip. Israel saying today, deal or no deal, it still plans to send the IDF into Rafah. ABC's Soufi-Burridge from Israel tonight.
Tonight, with Gaza ceasefire talks intensifying in Cairo, Israel indicating it will not accept any hostage deal which would end the war. Hamas studying a proposal which would see an initial 6-week pause in the fighting. In a statement, Hamas saying it is considering the Israeli proposal in a, quote, positive spirit, but adding the group is pushing for a definitive end to the war. People rallying tonight in Tel Aviv, calling for a ceasefire.
Well, there's frustration, there's anger on the streets of Tel Aviv. This is the movement pressuring the Israeli government to get a deal, to get the hostages home. But a deal also depends on Hamas.
CIA Director Bill Burns in the Egyptian capital, with the Israeli government reiterating it will launch an invasion into Rafah in southern Gaza, where more than 1 million Palestinians are sheltering, with or without a deal. In the meantime, strikes continuing in Rafah. First responders rescuing 2 children from the rubble. 35-year-old Sagi Dechelchen, one of 5 Americans thought to be still held by Hamas. His father, Jonathan, telling us if there isn't a deal now, he believes invading Rafah may be necessary to free the hostages.
If Hamas cannot get to yes right now, I am quite certain, and I fear that very different steps are going to have to be taken in order to get our hostages home. That will bring more misery in the short term.
And with Israel hitting back at the Biden administration's opposition to an invasion of Rafah, a senior Israeli official telling me Israel will make its own decision. Whit.
Tom Soufi-Burridge for us tonight. Thank you. Turning now to the race for the White House, some of the biggest names in the Republican Party descending on Palm Beach this weekend in support of former President Donald Trump. The guest list includes major donors and several top contenders to be Trump's vice presidential pick. Here's ABC's White House correspondent, Karen Travers.
Tonight, former President Donald Trump out of the courtroom.
So I'm not allowed to comment on any of that. As you know, I'm under a gag order.
And back on his home turf, hosting a multi-day retreat with Republicans in Palm Beach, Florida. The event featuring donors, party leaders, and close allies of the former president, who could be his running mate. A vice presidential audition in front of wealthy donors.
Donald Trump is using this as kind of a mini reality show to showcase some of the rising stars of the party, one of which just might be his running mate this fall.
Potential VP hopefuls in Palm Beach include Senator Tim Scott, Senator Marco Rubio, Governor Kristi Noem, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, Governor Doug Burgum, and Senator J.D. Vance. But sources say the former president is not very far along in the sweepstakes process, his campaign not yet starting to formally vet candidates and go through their personal information, and Trump not yet engaging. The retreat bringing together more than 400 donors, tickets priced from $5,000 to $25,000. With 6 months until Election Day, Trump needs a fundraising boost. The former president and Republicans starting April with less than half the cash on hand of the Biden campaign and Democrats. And polls continue to show a tight race. A new Reuters Ipsos poll found President Biden and Trump even among registered voters.
Sources tell ABC that Trump campaign officials today told donors and guests they want to try to compete in Virginia and Minnesota, two states that President Biden won in 2020. The Biden campaign tells me that Team Trump cannot back that rhetoric up with operations and staff in battleground states. Whit.
Karen Travers, thanks so much. We appreciate it. We have new information about the deadly police shooting this week outside of a Wisconsin middle school. A 14-year-old shot by officers after a report of a person with what appeared to be a long gun near the school. ABC's M. Nguyen joins us now. And M, you're learning new details about the weapon involved.
That's right, Whit. Tonight, authorities say the student who was shot and killed by officers outside a southern Wisconsin middle school was carrying a pellet gun. Police were originally called to the scene on Monday about a suspect with a backpack and what appeared to be a long gun moving toward Mount Horeb Middle School. The Wisconsin Department of Justice leading the investigation, now saying officers encountered the subject, which ABC News has learned was a 14-year-old boy just east of the school's main entrance. Officers say they then directed the teen to drop the weapon, but that he did not comply. That's when authorities say the boy pointed the weapon, now identified as a pellet rifle, at officers, prompting them to fire. Officials say the boy died on the scene. No officers nor others were injured. The law enforcement involved are now on administrative leave as per policy. They were also wearing body cameras during the time of the incident. Whit.
All right, Em, thank you. Tonight, an update on another story we've been following here. Two teens are facing felony charges after allegedly dumping trash into the ocean off the Florida coast. The incident caught on camera here. The teens could face a $50,000 fine or possible jail time. Both have turned themselves in amid public outrage. Here's ABC's Ika Jachi.
Tonight, two Florida teens who turned themselves into police are cooperating with investigators after viral video showing them dumping trash into the Atlantic Ocean generated outrage around the world.
We're getting calls from all over the world on this issue. This is just such an egregious act that it's offended so many people.
According to charging documents, the teens are facing felony pollution charges punishable with up to $50,000 in fines or up to 5 years in prison.
It's a callous, disregard for our environment. And, this won't be tolerated in Florida.
Officials say a group of minors left a party called Boca Bash off the coast of Boca Raton. Video captured by a local content creator and later posted on YouTube showing two teens dumping garbage cans full of trash, apparently celebrating before heading back to the party. Investigators calling it both a serious crime and a teachable moment.
These are juveniles. We're not here to ruin someone's life forever.
One of the teens on board who wasn't charged speaking with our affiliate WPLG, saying those actions should have consequences.
I do feel a little remorse for him, but I also feel like he deserves whatever happened because he made a really bad decision.
With the teens were released back to their parents, with one of the parents issuing an apology on their behalf and lobbying for the teens to be given community service. Whit.
Ike Kajachi for us tonight. Thank you. A milestone tonight in Lewiston, Maine, the bowling alley, one of two locations targeted in the mass shooting that claimed the lives of 18 people back in October, reopened to the public. A large crowd gathering, avid bowlers greeting friends, happy to be back and to honor the victims. Inside a display, 18 bowling pins bearing the names of each one of those killed. There's still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Saturday. Actor Kevin Spacey responds to new allegations of sexual misconduct and a dramatic rescue captured on body camera video, an officer pulling people from a burning home. Next tonight, actor Kevin Spacey is denying new allegations of sexual misconduct contained in a British documentary to be released next week. Spacey was acquitted of sexual offense charges last year in the UK. In the documentary, 10 men accused Spacey of misconduct, some of the allegations going back decades. Spacey maintains he's never done anything illegal. There's an urgent search underway in New Mexico for a baby believed to have been kidnapped after her mother was murdered. Elia Maria Torres is just 10 months old. Police were called to a park near Clovis on Friday. Two women were found shot to death, including the mother of the missing baby. The baby's older sister was found injured at the scene and is being treated at a hospital. When we come back, a burning home and the heroic effort to rescue a man in a wheelchair. To the index now, and a major food recall. The Department of Agriculture recalling 8 tons of raw ground beef sold at Walmart. The meat may be contaminated with E. coli bacteria. The beef was produced late last month by Cargill Meat Solutions. It was sold in 11 states and Washington, D.C. We have a list of all the recalled meat products on our website. We're getting a glimpse into the future of warfare. Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall recently got to ride in an F-16 controlled by artificial intelligence, not a human pilot. Kendall was aboard for a series of maneuvers at more than 550 miles per hour. The military hopes to deploy the first AI-enabled warplanes by 2028. And we have a new video of a dramatic rescue in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Officer Danielle Moore's body camera captured her running toward a house engulfed in flames on Thursday. A neighbor had already pulled one person from the fire. That woman and Moore were then joined by other officers who helped the man out of the garage into a wheelchair and got him to safety. When we come back, the Rolling Stones collaboration, 60 years in the making. Finally tonight, something special for music fans with time on their side. A musical event 60 years in the making. The Rolling Stones at their first New Orleans Jazz Fest, inviting singer Irma Thomas on stage for Time Is On My Side. That iconic tune sung here by Mick Jagger on The Ed Sullivan Show in 1964. Helping to catapult the Stones to superstardom. But what many don't know, it was the young New Orleans soul singer Thomas who recorded it first. She recounted how they came to see her perform in this 2019 Dutch documentary.
They expressed the fact that they loved Time Is On My Side and that they were going to do it. It immediately shot to the top of the charts, and of course, mine was just a memory.
Thomas, known as the Soul Queen in New Orleans, continued her successful music career, winning a Grammy in 2007. But for many decades, she stopped singing Time Is On My Side.
And we've asked her to join us to sing the song she recorded before the Rolling Stones did it, I might add.
Until finally reviving it at the request of Bonnie Raitt for a New Year's Eve performance. And then last Thursday, Mick Jagger and Irma Thomas, now 83, this special duet, a rare treat for music fans. What a moment. I'm Whit Johnson in New York. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.